What's up, YouTube? I'm back. The epitome of bad days at the track right here. You're looking at it. Hell on four wheels. Left me on the sidelines. I think there's an actual bug crawling on my truck right now. No, maybe not. I'm just seeing things. This thing's made me crazy. So yeah, I got all the way out there, 3 hours, as you guys know if you've watched my previous videos, and the track was beautiful. Good crew showed up. Everybody had their buggies fresh, looking clean. 5Ts looking fresh, clean. Nice looking Zenoa motors. And I roll in there with this piece, and yeah, it basically proved that trying to, pinch a penny and do this on a budget is just really difficult. This stock motor with the stock King motor 997 or 668 carb, whatever it is, it's just giving me problems. And to be honest, it didn't really seem to have any issues until I put this Victory pipe on there. It seemed like as soon as I did that, my temperature started coming up. And before you know it, I was having issues. I had what I thought was an issue with the initial, the regular plastic manifold, the stock manifold. Thought it was warped, figured maybe I had an air leak. And that's what left me on the sidelines the last time I was out there. So I get out there and I'm on the sidelines for most of the day. I mean, I'd say 3/4 of the day. It would run and then it would stall. It would run, it would bog and stall. Run, bog, and stall. And maybe 10 minutes of run time tops. But it would run strong when it was running, so that's what was strange. But the temperatures were a little high initially, so I richened it up a little bit. Not too much, but I richened it up a little bit. I had a nice smoke trail. Somebody had mentioned that maybe the Hillentronics kill switch is not reading accurately and that my high temp cutoff is what's cutting down the engine. Or then there was a mention of a glitch shut off, cutting down the engine, cutting the engine. But the switch itself has a red light and it reads off when it's activated, and that wasn't happening. So there was nothing activating the kill switch to shut the engine down. I mean, you could tell it was just bogging and stalling out. So long story short, I went ahead and tested it with an IR gun versus what the iKilly was reading for temperature, and I couldn't get an accurate reading because, of course, the iKilly is reading directly at the top of the head underneath that plug. That's where it reads. And so here I am with the gun trying to point it in all different directions to get a good temp reading that's the same as this, if not close to. And the closest I could possibly get it was if I read from this side, which of course is where the pipe is. So I was trying not to pick up any temperature from the pipe. But in the end, there was a difference between the two temps. So I mean, do what you will with that information. So the carburetor, this is the factory carburetor that came on this King motor 30.5 rev engine, and it's the only carburetor that I can get the engine to run with. The Rovin 997 that I have in a box would not allow me to start this engine. I had switched it out while I was there, tried to start it, no go. Another one of the guys out there was nice enough to let me use his or try out his 1052. Couldn't get it started. So I put this back on. Sure enough, she fired up. There was a lot of fuel sitting in here. So I was thinking, okay, somehow this carb is just dumping too much fuel. And maybe that's what's causing it to bog and stall out. I don't know. Gas cap, checked it, no issues from what I can see. Air leaks. I went ahead and pulled this off. I realized that these Teflon gaskets have a... what ends up happening is they actually have that was never shaped like that. What happened was over time, the heat and how far I tightened it caused it to squeeze, caused these to kind of elongate or oval, if you will, which I don't know is good, but it makes me question the integrity of this gasket. As you can see how much it squeezed. It never had any shape to it. It was perfectly flat on both sides. So that's this side. That's the carburetor side. Of course, this side I checked too, and that also had an issue with shape. That of course is an upgrade. If you guys watched the previous video, I talked about upgrading this to alloy. The Teflon gasket is designed to dissipate the heat, which is why they don't use alloy from the factory. It's my understanding they use that kind of a plastic material to dissipate the heat from the engine so that heat is not getting to the carburetor, heating up your carb. You don't want a hot carburetor. And this Teflon stuff is supposed to dissipate that and allow, less heat to get to the carb. Yeah, so I don't know. And in the end, like I said, there was a lot of fuel in here. I pulled my hair out, basically, trying to get it running and get it to stay running. Pulled plugs, checked plugs, changed plugs, checked spark, you name it, and nothing. I mean, in the process, because it was running crappy, look at it, I destroyed it. Not just because it was running crappy, but yeah, I destroyed the thing. That's 1 or 2 landings, head over heel type deal, end over end. Look at that damn shock. That thing's destroyed. And this here is the factory shock tower that they give you when you buy the King Motor Deluxe. You get all of the original parts in a bag, the parts that they took off and replaced with the bling bling red. And this here is the last one that was on there from the last time at the track. You can see how bad I bent that thing. Look at it. So yeah, I think it's time to find a rear shock tower that's capable. Bumper's destroyed, like I said. I mean, I was driving sheet metal screws through the thing trying to keep it intact, because once the cage is the integrity is gone, it just allows it to break and break and break, and before you know it, you have, everything's destroyed. The whole rear portion of that cage, I think I busted every single piece on it. That full force windshield, guys, if you're racing or you're jumping or you're, somebody that bashes pretty hard, I don't recommend any of that full force stuff for the low C5T or the X2 or the Rovin, because it just blows apart. And same for the rear fender wells. Those rear fender wells are all blown apart. It's just brittle, cheap plastic, and I just need to take them off now. So, and that's not to say that Full Force, isn't a great company. I would definitely recommend them. They have a lot of nice parts, but as far as for racing and bashing, that stuff is useless. If anything, all you're doing is adding weight. So yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do, guys. I think it's time to, I'm one of those guys that has very little time to myself and for this hobby, so I kind of have to weigh it out. Do I really want to spend the time to try to get this engine running right? Because, I'm trying to save $1. I don't know. Part of me just, wants to learn and is determined now to get it to run right, because I know it can and I know it should. But at the same time, somebody else mentioned the same thing at the track. Maybe I should just get rid of it, get what is known as the most reliable engine out there right now, the Zenoa G320. Buy the full, the fully assembled version from Dave's Motors. Maybe get a deal of the day on it. Comes with the carb, the can exhaust, the clutch, everything, and just pull this out, pop it in, and call it a day. It's an incredibly fast, strong motor and relatively cheap. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Of course, like I said, I'll have to find something to replace this rear shock tower, because it's apparent that I am going to keep destroying those. And as far as the rear cage is concerned and this whole bumper setup, the 5s are out there running with no rear bumper and no cage at all, the 5Bs. I got an idea, and it's still going to use the 30 North panels, some of them anyway, but I got an idea, and if it works, I think it's going to look pretty cool, and it'll be the first time I've seen it. Maybe some of you guys have seen it before, but I haven't yet, so we'll see. But yeah, this is the aftermath of yesterday's open track day. What a mess, an absolute mess. Just complete aggravation. Those of you guys that have been in the hobby for a while, you know how it can be. And yesterday was one of those days, so it's got me pretty down right now. I'm sure you can hear it in my voice. I really don't even want to touch it. I just basically packed up, threw everything in my box, threw it in the back of my truck and drove home thinking for 3 hours about why this damn thing was doing what it was doing. And of course, I mean, there's a million different, you know, opinions and things you can check, and you know, everybody's got something to say. I don't know. I just don't know. And of course, I'm trying to take as much advice and suggestions as I can, but it's one of those things where you just have to draw the line. Is it worth the time? You know, is it worth the time to try to get this thing running right, or should I just toss it in a bag or a box like the Rovin 30.5 right there? Or should I take that Rovin 30.5 because it was running good, it was running great when I took it out of the Rovin Baja and replaced it with the SCZ? Should I do that? I don't know. Would I just be asking for more trouble as opposed to just spending $300 and buying the Zenoa G320? Something tells me yeah. Oh, by the way, those Rovin rod ends, they weren't going to work. They were way too tight. I needed some play in there. I needed that, you know, that movement. It was putting way too much strain on my servo. I tried to Dremel them out the night before, trying to be cheap, but that didn't work either, so the Dremel I have is a piece of junk. So somebody was nice enough to give me a stock set of low C push-pull rods, steering rods, before I even got started yesterday. So yeah, it's pretty frustrating, guys. I gotta go tend to the baby. I guess I'm just gonna clean the truck. It's a mess with dirt from being parked near the track, and that's it. Maybe I'll get back out here and get working on that telemetry, because I have everything else to get the Baja going. Part of me just wants to just rip the telemetry out of there, and I know some of you would probably agree with that, so we'll see. But I'm in no rush, because no matter how quickly I finish the thing, as beautiful as it is outside, I can't get out there right now, guys. I am housebound. So those of you guys that can get out and run and bash and burn some two-stroke gas, burn some for me. I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for watching, guys.